Welcome to the Men's Journal Everyday Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sarraille. I'm proud to partner with Pendleton Whiskey. Pendleton Whiskey just released its 4th annual We've Got Your 6th limited edition military bottle to honor veterans of the United States Armed Forces. Pendleton Whiskey is also pledged to donate $100,000 of proceeds to support the Bob Woodruff Foundation. The Bob Woodruff Foundation helps create healthy, positive futures for our service members, veterans, and their families. Remember to go to pendletonwhiskey.com and please check out their cocktails page, which provides a Western spin on your classic cocktails. All right, let's get to it. Welcome to the Men's Journal Everyday Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sarraille. Today we have a guest who needs no introduction, and if you don't know who he is, you are actually the problem. Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. 17 years with the Miami Dolphins, and still holds dozens of records. I think when you left or retired, you held over 40 at that time. Wasn't that correct?
Yeah, Mike. Well, thank you for bringing it up. That's awesome. Yeah, I pretty much, when I left, nowadays guys are gradually breaking all of them, but I had pretty much all of them, and was very proud of that. And then Brett Favre comes along, and then you got Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and they all start kind of picking away at my records. But that's okay. It's part of life sometimes. But man, I enjoyed it. 17 years, I had a great time.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the next generation isn't breaking our records, then we failed them. I'm sure you laid the path to success for a lot of them. And I think that holds true in any profession is the next generation comes in and does one better. I want to talk a little about football, but you've had a lot of time to reflect post-career. And I'm sure you have a lot of valuable lessons for our listeners. So mainly want to talk about leadership. And habits, both on and off the football field. First off, what do you consider to be your greatest accomplishment in your career, whether football or post-career?
Well, I think to me, when you go in the league, you never believe you believe you're going to be successful. You have that confidence, but to be able to play 17 years and then get picked to go into the Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. That was special to be able to do that in front of my dad, family, and friends. And I remember my dad taking me to Canton when I was like 8 years old. We drove from Pittsburgh over there just for the day with some other friends. And then, you never imagined that years later when I was, 40, 42 years old, I go into the Hall of Fame. So to me, that's a huge accomplishment because it's football heaven. And, that was amazing.
Dan, I always wondered, because you were highly recruited out of high school, was the University of Pittsburgh that decision solely because of family to be close to them?
Well, I think that and go there. I grew up basically in the same neighborhood that the university is located. I could walk from my house to the 50-yard line of the stadium. A lot of kids that go to college don't have that. That kind of opportunity. So I was always really going to go to Pitt. Excuse me. They had a really good football team, before I got there, and some great players, and that was special for me. And then besides that, I was able to go to school all year round, and then I could go home, and my mother would do my laundry, so I didn't have to worry about that stuff. So it was special, to go there.
Smart decision in a lot of ways. During your football career, who was most influential? Because we are all the product of great coaches and mentors. We never do it on our own. Who was that mentor or coach that was there to cheer you on when you were victorious, but more importantly, to pick you up when you were not?
So I will tell you that, I had some great coaches, Don Shula, Jackie Sherrill, Jimmy Johnson. All those guys are incredible to me. As a player and as someone that was a good example, all of them. But I would say the best coach I ever had in my life was my dad, and what he accomplished in his life for his family, and being a truck driver, working weekends as a landscaper, and just the hard work that he put in for his family. the examples that I learned from him about understanding people and the relationships in your life was so important to me. But he was like a coach, but he wasn't really a coach. More of a life coach, but understood football and understood life.
What was the best advice he ever gave you? The one that stuck with you?
As far as relationships are concerned, the best one is, I would say, he always said, treat people the way you want to be treated and life will be fine, and understand that it could be, the guy that's coming to pick up your garbage, or it could be, the president of the United States. You treat them all how you want to be treated, and you'll be in good shape. I always thought that was very good. I always thought that was a pretty good one.
It's the golden rule. Why would you treat anyone otherwise? And what really changes it when you have a daughter, especially how you treat women. It becomes even more poignant. But my old man is, and he hates being called my old man. My dad is now in his 70s. Just celebrated his 76th birthday. Do you remember a time you sat your old man down and said, "Hey, I just want you to know you did good by your family, and everything I have is because of you"?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact time, but I always used to have discussions with him and talk to him about how he was so important in my life and the things he taught me, and we always ended with I love you, man, and looking forward to seeing you. And I was fortunate enough that when he retired, he came to Florida, was able to see a lot of my football games and lived close and see my kids grow up. And it was always just this. It was excellent. It was important. It was great.
Well, a lot of players respected the hell out of you. I know a lot. You hear the footage. A lot of Miami Dolphins look to you as the leader. But who is that player that you respected the most, either on your team or that you played against during your career?
Well, when I first came in the league, there's my backup quarterback actually was Don Strock, and he was in, I don't know, a lot of people might not remember him, but he was in his 11th year and I was in my first. And he became an extremely close friend and also an important player in my life and on those teams because he was like my coach. Like, we didn't even have a quarterback coach back then. Now they have two quarterback coaches, every team. But he really taught me how to play the game, how to work a lot of things that to me were so important when I was 21, 22 years old. And then, other guys like Dwight Stevenson, who's in the Hall of Fame, was my center. Things he went through, but still, was able to go out and play and play that, probably the best center to ever play. But to play at that level, he did only do it for 8 years and then get in the Hall of Fame. So he was special also.
That must be he must have had so little ego knowing that this young college quarterback is coming in and taking his job, and to be a coach and somewhat of a mentor to him sounds like an amazing individual.
Yeah, Don was, exactly. You hit it right on the head. He knew it was going to probably be my job sooner or later, but the thing is, it's a team game. You're all working together, and he understood that he was in his 11th year and I was, my first year, and he wanted to help me. I felt like it was important to him, and he did, and he really did help me.
17 years in the league, that is insane. When that time came, were you ready to hang it up, or was that one of the toughest decisions in your life?
That was tough, Mike, because you always feel like you can still play. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I could have played a couple more years. But at the same time, I had some injuries, knees, thing in my neck, and like lost my feeling in my arm that last year couldn't play for like 6 weeks. The doctor said if it happens again, it could be worse. So your mind starts thinking about all those things. I was like, well, I played 17 years, all in one place, had an incredible career, had just so many things to be happy for in my NFL career. And I thought about going somewhere else. I thought about Minnesota or Pittsburgh. They're both teams that kind of came after me a little bit, but I thought being a Dolphin for life and starting to spend some time with my family and not have to worry about the injuries anymore was a big part of my decision.
It's amazing when you think about it. I mean, you guys really do sacrifice your body for the love of the sport. I mean, that is obsession, that is passion, which are usually the same things. When you did transition, did you have a plan in place, or was that smooth, or was that more difficult than you thought, going from career, franchise football player to retiree in a sense?
Yes. That's a good question, because I get that a lot. And it was tough, really tough, because your body, especially when the summer came and it's time to get in shape for football camp, and your body and your mind is like, I got to get ready for football. And then all of a sudden that's not there. And it was like almost like to the point where, you want to go to the games and just sit there and just to be around the players. The transition part, besides that, I started doing some television for HBO, so it kept me kind of involved a little bit and being a part of the game. But actually, doing TV was okay, so I got a little taste of that and ended up doing a lot more of that as years went on for CBS and HBO. But that was the transition. I don't know if you ever really transitioned, because you played. I was doing that since I was 8 years old. And then now it's 38, and now it's not there anymore, which is tough. And a lot of guys struggle with that too, because it's not easy.
It almost becomes part of your DNA. And I would never equate my profession to what you guys did, but watching a lot of the career special operations guys get out, it's and I'm sure you miss running onto that field on Sunday. I'm sure that's like no other feeling in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I know you just mentioned that the respect I have for all the special op guys and the people that protect our country. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's incredible. And so you always yearn, I guess, for that action and to go out on the field or do whatever it may do that you love. So it's hard to I don't know, give it up. I guess that's the thing. Yeah.
To let go. All right, success and failure, both vitally important to any career. What did you learn more from, success or failure?
I think, it's a combination, but I guess the failure part, because you learn from the failures that you make in your life and decisions you make in your life, and hopefully you don't make them again. That's what you learn from, so you can be more successful the next time. So they go hand in hand. So it would be, to me, probably and I think that's something I probably got from my dad too. He'd always say, don't be afraid to fail. You're trying to succeed, but if you fail, it's okay, because you learn from it, and then you're going to succeed the next time, which I always thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, we already talked about your greatest accomplishment, which was the aggregate effort of getting you into the Hall of Fame. What do you consider to be your biggest failure while leading the Miami Dolphins as their quarterback?
Wow, that's an easy one. Not getting to the Super Bowl again after I got to the Super Bowl in my second year, which I was, the youngest quarterback. I think I still am the youngest quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, and lose, and then not get back, the rest of my career, and not know what that feeling is like to win that championship. Now, break all the records, all the other things, win a ton of games, but don't know what that last game on Sunday, the championship, and you win. What does that feel? What does that feel like?
It's amazing for a man that's accomplished all that's still there. And quite selfishly, I grew up in Palo Alto, California. I still remember that at the age of 7, watching that. Well, couldn't make it into the stadium because I was too young. My dad and my brother had tickets, so I had to watch it on TV. But we remember that Super Bowl as vividly as possible, because I think that was the one and last time that it was ever held at Stanford Stadium. But,
no, it was like the home game for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. They totally had a home field advantage. So what are those 1 to 3 tenets, those non-negotiables, those things that you credit that have led to the majority of your success? Drive, discipline. What are the things that you now preach to your kids or young players?
Oh, I would think, as far as athletics concerned, it's to make sure you feel that you've done enough and worked hard enough to be successful, and not to look back and say, well, I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have studied a little harder to be successful, and kind of leave it on the field, I guess, in every way. But just to make sure that you work, like if it's working out, if it's the mental part of the game, then it's the physical part of the game, to make sure you've established yourself and felt good about everything and how you prepared up to that point when you get, your test, which would be a game or, anything like that. I think that's one of the big things. And in life, I guess it's, what my dad said, it's, treating people the way you want to be treated, and always learning from relationships and learning from the experiences that you have with other people, and kind of looking forward to just being able to, I don't know, what's the word, bring that along in part of your life and part of your kids' lives. Those are things that I think, to me, are extremely important.
It's amazing that you talk about preparation. I know there's a phrase, fortune favors the bold. I actually believe fortune favors the prepared, in that a lot of battles in our space are won before you even step onto the battlefield. I'm sure that holds true for football. If you put the work in, if you put the time in studying your opponent, the victory is already secured.
And it seems like it becomes easier, actually.
Yeah.
When you're that prepared and you're ready to roll, that it's almost like to perfection, which how you want it to work.
Dan, one more question, and then I want to get to what's next for you and your passion projects that you're working on. So we asked this last question: when all is said and done, and that time comes for Dan Marino, how are you going to look back on your life and evaluate whether you've lived a life of impact and purpose?
I would look back on it and say that I made an impact on other people's lives in a positive way, especially, in my pursuit of helping children with autism, because my son Michael was born autistic, and it's been a long time now. He's 30 years, but I've always felt like I wanted to help people in a different way, the ones that couldn't get the help, the things they needed, that had developmental disabilities, like my son Michael, because he had great opportunities because I was in a position to help him. And I think that's something that, I'll look back on, and and right now even, look back on, and I'm extremely proud of, and then the other thing is just that, I love the game. I love people, the relationships I built up over the years. I think people look at me and say, hey, you know what? He was a good man and a good guy.
So we have a motto here with the Everyday Warrior concept. It's get stuff done, make stuff happen, do it all again tomorrow. What is next for Dan Marino? What are the passion projects that you're working on right now?
Well, one is what I just talked about, was the foundation, and continuing to do that and build that as much as I can. And the other is, I got both of my knees done, so 2 knee replacements, and I put some weight on, and I started to work for Nutrisystem, which I've done work with them, for years. But of late, I put some weight on, and now I've taken it off. But I think it's really for men, and helping them understand that you have to be in shape, and the fact that Nutrisystem can help you through the diet plan that they do, and it has been something that to me, really, you see people, they'll come up to me and say, hey, I got on the program, the Nutrisystem quote, the system, and it makes it easy for men, because basically the guy doesn't want to work that hard at it, except if it gets there, you get it in your front door. The meals are, 5-6 meals a day, and they take all the planning out of it. It's planned for you, right? So, and then if you do it, you lose the weight, you feel good about yourself, your body feels better. And that's something that I always felt good about when people come up to me and they say, my husband, a wife would say, been on Nutrisystem, he lost a bunch of weight, he feels better about his life. And to me, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And I know with the rise in obesity, hey, we all want to be the best version of ourselves. Is it as simple as people going to Nutrisystem.com? Is that the best way to find it?
It would be NutrisystemForMen.com. And you can get a special deal if you go on here soon, as far as the price of the food, if you go online and order some of it.
and your work with autism, if anyone wants to make a donation, where can they make a donation there? DanMarinoFoundation.org.
Yeah, that's it. And the foundation, and I feel like we made a big impact, and I appreciate it.
Well, sir, I can't thank you enough for joining us. That was definitely a lot of nuggets of wisdom there for both our listeners and myself. And to speak to a legend that I watched growing up, this has been special for me. So, again, thank you from myself and all the listeners and Men's Journal as well.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And thank you for what you've done in your life. So that's awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you, Dan. And for all the listeners, thank you for joining the Men's Journal Everyday Warrior podcast. We will see you again. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Men's Journal Everyday Warrior podcast. Hey, whatever platform you utilize to listen to our podcast, please leave a review. We read all of them. That's how we get better. And lastly, again, thank you to our sponsor, Pendleton Whiskey. We've got your 6. Cheers.